Welcome to another gathering of the Gold Key Adventurers Society. Have a seat by the fire as we prepare to help you unlock the secrets of the travel life. From theme park thrills to Purple Mountain's majesty, we want to see it all and do it all, and we want to help you do the same. We all have those bucket list trips, once-in-a-lifetime destinations that we'll get to someday. We're here to help you make your travel dreams a reality. Buy the ticket, take the trip. Where do you want to go?
Come on, come on, come on, now tell me what's on your bucket list. Okay, hey, okay, hey. It's a beautiful day. Okay, hey, okay, hey. It's a beautiful day.
This just in. We have an opening date for Walt Disney World, and we're talking about how a WDW vacation will look a little different for a while. Plus skunk apes, giraffes, and Japanese cowboy robots. Dust off your magic bands and pack your favorite ears. It's time to hit the trail with the Gold Key Adventure Society. Welcome back to Action News Team Center K33, your one-stop source for the latest in breaking news around the world and around the corner. Stick around until the top of the hour for our interview with one of the giant teddy bears enlisted to help with safety inspections on the roller coasters at Walibi Holland Amusement Park. But first, this pressing question for our hosts. What'd you guys have for breakfast this morning?
I had delicious Krispy Kreme donuts for breakfast this morning. It was a surprise and a delight.
That's nice.
I had donuts too, and I just wanted to brag about the fact that I had the delicious...
Did you have donut conspiracy donuts?
Yes, I had donut conspiracy donuts, and I had the Southern Peach, which is...
I have yet to find that one because it's been a while since we've gone there in person, and when you do delivery, it's a baker's choice, so they just send you a dozen, and then you figure out what you got.
Well, I hate you guys both because I'm currently on my... holy crap, what did I do to my body during quarantine diet? And
yes.
So I've had cold brew coffee this morning and half a bagel.
Nice.
Yeah. And I hate you guys.
Yeah, I'm right
Sadly,
there.
the donut for breakfast is my holy crap. What did I do to my body?
I'm right there with you, Jess. I have taken up running, something I thought I would never do.
Yeah, it's desperate
a jog
times.
Last night, to desperate times, call for desperate measures. That is very true.
Yes.
I don't like it, and it'd be nice if someone could come and chase me with a knife or something. That would make it easier.
Yeah, purposeful, you know.
Yes, a bear, something. Oh, wait, but you never run from a bear, so that would have been a bad idea.
Right.
To work on your punching.
We all got bikes, and I was hoping that would help, but unfortunately, I've become Presley's bike buddy, and she stops every 100 feet to adjust things or look around.
She's
or
like a dog that you're taking for a walk. Oh, what's this? Oh, what's this?
It's really hard to get the heart rate up to the aerobic zone at that pace. Oh, all right. Well, I guess it's time to start this show. Show this week, just like every week, is brought to you by Key to the World Travel. Key to the World Travel is a full-service travel agency specializing in theme parks, cruising, and destinations around the world. Head to www.keytotheworldtravel.com for more details and a no-obligation quote on the vacation of a lifetime. Hey, Jess, there's a whole bunch of theme parks there.
So many.
Yeah, so many. Mainly, we have, SeaWorld Orlando will be begin their reopening in sort of two phases, beginning on June 10th with an Employee Appreciation Day, and then a full reopening to the public on June 11th. And so that includes SeaWorld, Aquatica, and Discovery Cove. And yeah, we're very excited about that. There's obviously new standard safety practices like mandatory masks, temperature screenings, social distancing, spacing in the lines in the shops. The animal viewing areas will have markings for social distancing as well, and certain animal attractions will be modified. And any buffet service is also going to be adjusted or closed, which is just, I think we're not going to see buffets in the parks for a while.
Buffets are going to be gone from a lot of places for a good long while, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's
I know.
Or good, I guess.
It's one of the two.
Yeah. And
I'm wondering if
really
they
nice
could just go to like cafeteria style at a lot of buffets where it would require a lot more employees, but having them serve you instead of you.
Yeah, I mean, they could switch to
Serving
family
yourself.
style at a lot of them, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just-
that's true too.
You can get the same sort of food value in that way. But yes, so that'll be happening alongside with Walt Disney World.
July 11th.
July
I keep
11th.
saying-
Sorry, not
I keep
alongside.
saying June.
I know it's
Yeah.
it's there's so much
SeaWorld,
info.
June 11. One month later, it'll be July 11 for Disney World.
Yeah, this has been a whirlwind week of every 5 minutes
So crazy.
something new. So it's been hard to keep up with.
I know, and I keep mixing up the Junes and the Julys.
Yeah.
I just want it all to open.
Yeah.
Just let's get it over with. So I saw that Six Flags is also going to start their reopening.
Oh, Jess's favorite.
Yes,
You must be
just
excited,
can't wait.
Jess.
Sorry,
I
who?
haven't heard about Six Flags over Georgia, but they are starting with Frontier City in Oklahoma. I hadn't actually heard of that one on June 5th. And then sort of phasing out from there. But they announced the same kinds of things: the social distancing, the no buffets. A lot of these places are requiring masks, at least for the immediate future.
Yeah.
Legoland was an exception in Florida. They are not going to require masks. They're going to recommend it. I have a feeling it's because that park is really, really targeted toward young kids.
Yeah.
Kind of age out of interest from Legoland. And that's going to be an audience that it's really hard to keep a mask on a toddler.
Yeah.
Although that discussion's going to come back in a little
Yes,
bit.
we'll get back to we'll
Later in
circle
the
back
show.
around to that one. But
Oh, hey, on a completely, this is not in my notes, so I'm blindsiding you with it. It doesn't have anything to do with opening, but did you guys see the drone shots of Nintendo Land?
No.
what? No.
How did I miss that?
You haven't
No,
seen
I
these?
need this link immediately.
They came out like 2 days ago.
Oh,
Google 'em.
Stop it. Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah, I'm going to go
Yeah.
check that out.
I missed that completely.
Well, that's a good segue into another theme park opening announcement. Did you see this, Jess? Japan is allowing theme parks to start reopening, but they have a quirky new rule.
Of course they do.
Which I have no idea how you're gonna police this, but no screaming on roller coasters.
Well, I mean, now the Japanese are known for being reserved and
That is true.
and well mannered. I think that if anybody can do it,
It's the Japanese.
It's gonna be the
That's
Japanese.
True.
but
But
wow.
this is exciting news for Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Seek, because that will give them the go ahead to start reopening. And I saw that they are reopening the shopping area. It has a Japanese name that I can't pronounce, so it's just the shopping zone.
the shopping area.
No screaming on roll. I thought that was hilarious.
I wonder if they're going to build decibel meters into each of the
Yes.
seats so they can determine who screamed and who just slightly exclaimed
And what's the
excitedly
punishment?
that,
Like what's
Exactly. Do you get kicked out?
Yeah, and as we were
Are you
saying,
just publicly shamed?
yeah, and as we were saying before, like there are those of us, myself included, who giggle uncontrollably during roller coasters.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, because I giggle really loud. Like I've had to basically mute any on-ride videos I've taken for the
He does.
website.
It's really funny.
It permeates.
It's so fun though.
Yeah,
And that's the question, though. What's the threshold between a loud
And a
giggle
scream.
or
Mhm.
a holler
It's
or
true.
a scream, you know?
Yeah, we were just talking about this morning, and this particular one I think it's a little ridiculous.
yeah.
Because I mean they've had some time to do some studies on the aerosol effect of coronaviruses, and this one in particular, and they've found that the like a sneeze and talking and those kinds of things, while it does hang around, it does get expelled into that kind of thing. When it's that small of a particulate matter, it disintegrates really quickly. And so you're actually less likely to catch it from a sneeze than you are from somebody coughing on you, because a cough tends to bring up a little bit more larger particles, which, yeah, sorry, that's gross. But
Yeah, but you got to think about the roller coaster effect, where they're basically, it's like a ramming forcing the
Yeah,
person behind
I
you
suppose
straight
it
through
would
your
be
cloud,
a
of
bigger
particulates.
cloud. Yeah, that's true.
Somebody sitting behind you gets your contact lens that just peeled off your eyes on them. You know,
On
that's-
the makeup.
Yeah, you watch out
Yeah,
for that.
that's true. Did you want to talk about Gatorland's reopening, Jess?
Yeah. So Gatorland, it's as if
the ultimate in redneck theme parkery.
Yeah. It's as if Florida Man turned into a theme park. It's
yes. Good point.
So Gatorland is reopening as well. And they debuted their new marketing ploy to handle things with their social distancing skunk ape.
First of all, what is a skunk ape?
You know what? It's kind of like Bigfoot. It's like
it looks like Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's like a fake cryptozoological creature that lives in legend.
It's the official cryptid of Florida.
Yeah, apparently. I had no idea that. I don't even know if my state has an official cryptid, but it's amazing.
Oh yeah, we all need to find that out.
And they've got a really funny page up for it that says Gatorland is taking social distancing to the next level with their very own social distancing skunk ape. And he remains insistent that you stay distant. Which
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a video. It's
bottle of Lysol.
Yeah. He's got so first off, he's got a sleeveless shirt on because he's a Florida man. Sleeveless shirt, bottle of Lysol, and apparently a very bad attitude towards people not practicing social distancing.
Have you noticed what he doesn't have? He does not have a mask on.
It's true, but I was wondering if all that hair, it's just absorbing it anyway.
No, he's got one, but it's hanging around his neck. It's not over his
guys,
face.
if you're going to have the mask,
because the poor Gatorland employee that drew the small straw to be the social distancing skunk ape can't breathe as is with the mask that way.
I already have to wear this ridiculous
guys, I'm dying in here.
And then he's wearing his little it looks like a wife beater style sleeveless shirt with a picture of himself on it.
Because Florida,
so crazy.
Yeah.
No, and this is the funniest part too, is it says he will be available for meet and greet.
Yeah, he's available for meet and greets, which apparently, you can get near him. I don't understand. But
oh, so good. They're opening. When are they opening Gatorland?
I missed the date.
They're already open. They opened last weekend.
I'm surprised they ever closed.
Memorial Day weekend. Yeah.
But that's I'd rather encounter the social distancing skunk ape than what they're doing in Singapore in the parks.
I love that though.
Story.
What is it?
Okay, have you seen the videos of the terrifying robot dog from Boston Dynamics? Yes. They've got one of those that's patrolling the parks, warning people to keep their distance.
I love that.
Oh, that's
funny.
Awesome. That's sort of like Disney Springs, where they have stormtroopers patrolling to enforce social distancing.
Yeah.
Put your mask back on, sir. Ooh. Probably will shoot you with my blaster, but it's okay because I'll miss.
Yeah. Not much they can do.
Yeah, crazy. Any other theme parks there?
Any other theme parks?
I think that's it.
That's all that I had seen as well.
A lot of places are still waiting for the go ahead. That means it's time for our brand newest segment here on Key to the World. Here on the Gold Key Adventure Society, it's time
Where are we again?
Just the tips.
Nailed it.
I have no idea. For the best travel hacks when you plan your trips, straight from Key to the World Travel, it's just the tips. Just the tips.
Oh, I just love the production value on that. It's so high.
It's a work in value. Work in value or work in progress? God, I can't use my brain today.
Dan had too many donuts.
I only had one is the problem. I need another one. All right. This week's tip comes from Melissa from Indiana. So let's take a listen.
Hi, this is Melissa Sunby from Lawrenceburg, Indiana. And my travel tip would be to load prepaid gift cards for your children. That way you stay on budget with all those souvenirs. It's a great way to teach them money management, but also they get to spend their money how they want and you don't go broke. Thanks so much.
That is a great tip. We used to do that with our kids when they were younger. Give them a Disney gift card if we were in a Disney park.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
That might be a good tip for even the not so small.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm sure my wife wishes that she could rein it in by just a Disney gift card for me, but
yeah, they've gotten
Why won't my magic band work at the touch points?
Exactly. And mine have gotten to the age where the stuff they want is a lot more expensive, like legacy lightsabers from Doc Ondars that are $100 a pop just for doesn't even include the blade.
I learned that after I accidentally purchased the blade, not knowing that it was a separate price. He's like, "Do you want the blade?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course." And then I looked at the receipt and I was like, "Oh,
whoops."
okay."
That blade was extra.
I already had a blade, so I didn't need it. Oh well.
Good tip.
Good tip.
Well, I have some non-theme park travel reopening news. There's been a lot of it this week, actually. Everything is really starting to phase into opening. Most of the national parks are already open, and those that aren't are on the way to be open by the end of June. I think most of the big names will be open, and the demand for them is huge.
Yeah.
The headline I saw on National Geographic was "Summer at America's National Parks kicks off with long lines and crowded trails."
Yeah. I mean, it hit the right time for...
Yes, it sure did.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people who are still a little leery of flying, this appeals to them. Being outdoors is definitely going to appeal to a lot more people who are still a little bit nervous. And it also is still a little tricky to find flights to places. It's June is when most of the airlines have said they're going to start phasing stuff back in. And they definitely saw a big uptick in flying over Memorial Day. Nothing like normal holiday weekends, but certainly much more than we have seen recently. Las Vegas is opening on June 4th. And I saw that there are 2 casinos that are giving away free flights to try to get people back to Vegas. The D Las Vegas, appropriate for us to bring up on this show, and the Golden Gate. They're giving away 1,000 free flights.
Wow.
So if you want to go spend some money in Vegas.
Have you seen pictures of the blackjack tables with the guards?
Everything is starting to look like a salad bar everywhere. Then the last bit that I had was that we have gotten a lot of questions about from people who still would actually like to travel internationally this summer and about where they will be allowed to go. And it turns out quite a few places are reopening, even in Europe, which I expected to last a bit longer on their holdouts. But Greece and Italy are both reopening in June. And they've both kind of said, look, our economies are based on tourism. And if we don't reopen now, we're never going to recover. So both of them are reopening to all international guests starting in June. Spain and Portugal are both opening their borders to international guests in July. Iceland has never closed their borders. Previously, they were requiring a 14-day quarantine of international guests, but they're going to change that to offering you a choice between a quarantine and a coronavirus test at the airport. And if you test negative, you don't have to quarantine. Seems
I think the choice is there. I'll take a swab to the nose.
Those things are deep, though.
They really are. Mexico is reopening in June. Quite a few of their resorts have said that they're ready to reopen.
Considering the recent headlines about their situation, that's a little...
It is surprising, but the tourist areas, I mean, I understand it. There are the resort areas on either coast are so dependent on tourist dollars that they're in some dire straits right now if they don't get tourists back. Turkey is reopening in June. If you'd like to visit Turkey, I've actually been to Turkey once, and it is a beautiful, beautiful country. And there's a lot of open space and interesting things to see outside of Istanbul, where it's super, super crowded. You might want to avoid that for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Cyprus is actually saying they want tourists back so bad that if you come to Cyprus and you test positive for COVID-19 while you're on vacation, they will pay for your medical care.
Wow.
Yeah. They're committed.
That's, yeah.
But wait, are they going to pay for your medical care at a facility?
Is it Cyprus medical care?
Probably. Yeah, probably. Bali is waiting a little bit longer, but they have announced that they'll be welcoming international guests back in October. This one kind of made me chuckle. The Maldives is opening in June, but the caveat there is they are opening only to yachts and private jets, and they will be imposing a fee of $50,000 to visit in June. So that seems to be a particular audience that they're welcoming back.
Yeah,
first.
I'm not sure who.
Yeah.
That's
If you've got a private jet and $50,000.
Fun fact: $100 bills have actual antiviral properties.
Oh, that's a good tip. Thanks, Dan.
That's how they're rich.
They said maybe 2 to 3 months later they'll reopen to everyone else and lift that $50,000 fee. St. Lucia opening in June. Aruba's is a little interesting. They are preparing to welcome back tourists, and they've said they will be opening sometime after June 15th and before July 1st. So they're not quite sure yet, but by July 1st, they will be welcoming back visitors. And then we already talked a little bit about Japan and some of their reopening that's happening. They are planning to reopen to international guests in July, and they are actually trying to come up with a way to entice tourists back to Japan. They're spending a ton of money developing a kind of a voucher system that will help you get free meals, free hotel stays, free things at local places to get tourists back. They haven't fully rolled out all the details yet, but that is in the works. So if you are already planning to go to Japan this summer, might be a good time to do it.
I feel like Japan itself isn't what I need to be enticed to do. It's the plane ride over there.
Yeah, that's true.
That is
doozy.
That is still mask on for that plane ride. So
I'm not sure that I could handle 15 hours.
Yeah,
in a mask. Yeah, that's about everything that I found so far. But given that just a week ago, nothing was open. It's really going in a positive direction, and you can get your wanderlust on again.
Yeah, by the time this episode actually releases, there'll probably be a whole bunch more. It changes so fast. I know a lot of European countries, they're saying we're going to start by opening our hotels only to locals. We'll use them for guinea pigs, and then if it's all good, we'll let.
Yeah, a lot of the other destinations, really popular destinations in Europe, like the UK and France. They're in Germany is one of them that announced this too. They're opening their borders first to other EU citizens, so that a lot of them have been closed to just anybody. Nobody can come back in, but they're reopening to EU citizens first, and then they'll reevaluate. Over here, though, Canada just keeps extending their lockdown further and further and further. They just announced no cruise ships are going to be allowed back to any Canadian port all the way through fall. I think it was October 31st. And that pretty much eliminates the fall color season.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of cruises
And
that do
Alaska.
Canada and all along they go up to St. John and Nova Scotia and that sort of thing. Not going to be happening.
How about some good news then, guys? Or at least something to cheer you up before whatever our dreamscapes for the next week.
It's safe for work this week, I swear.
Have you guys heard of the Giraffe Hotel?
I have heard of this. Yes.
This place is, well, it's actually Giraffe Manor, and it's in I think it was built in the 1930s. It's an old fancy European manor house in Nairobi there. They've got 12 acres of their own private land that is within a giant forest, and it kind of takes the animal encounters that you get at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge to like the
Up
ultimate
several
degree.
notches.
Yeah. When you arrive at this hotel, the staff teaches you how to feed the giraffes, and inside every guest room there are bowls of giraffe food because they like to just come in, stick their heads in through your window.
I didn't realize it was in the guest rooms too. I've only seen it in their dining areas.
Yeah, apparently it says in their guest room.
Cool. For snacks.
You can book the hotel on its own. They also work with I think they're owned by a company that does safaris, so you can use that as a jumping off for the final destination from a safari there. And then when I found this, there's also, if you are interested in elephants instead of giraffes, there is nearby. Sorry, I'm having issues with my iPad here. So many of these like travel, like look at our list of really cool hotels. They're on really sketchy sites full of pop-ups and ads all over the place. It takes forever to find what you're okay. Okay, so you can go to Zambia to the Mafue Lodge if you want basically the same experience but with elephants.
I haven't heard of this one.
Yeah, this one is the Bush Camp Company's award-winning Mafue Lodge, set beneath a canopy of mahogany trees, thatched roof buildings around 2 lagoons. You can see elephants there.
Cool.
It's right inside like a game park preserve there. It's the kind of place that if the Amazing Race happens to be going through Zambia, that's where they're going to let them sleep the night at the end of the leg.
It's like an exotic version of those videos you see on AFV where people are driving through the parks and camels keep eating food out of their car and attacking them, licking their faces while children just scream in terror.
I don't know. I think I'm cool with the giraffe, but I don't know about the elephants.
Have either of you ever done one of those drive-through safari parks?
Just once, yeah. And actually, it was out it was at Arizona. The summer we did our Red Rocks tour.
We went on a road trip down to Ohio. There's a safari park like that near Sandusky, near Cedar Point. And we drove to this great big open field and the animals are just wandering. It's not like they're, penned up beside the road where you're driving, whatever. So you got to watch out for the buffalo that just plant themselves right in front of you. And we were driving my wife's at the time when she had a tiny little Chevy Cobalt.
Yes, I remember that car.
Had the window down to feed the animals, and this bison stuck his face as far as it would go in the window of this tiny little car. It was right up on me. It was great.
In that car, it took up like all the front seats.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Were you feeding the bison?
Involuntarily at that point.
Yeah. The bison and llamas. And
the one we did out in Arizona, because we were part of a tour group, we were in a bus. So we were up above the animals and they weren't able to really stick their heads in the bus windows, but we got pretty close to them and they take you through. Some of the animals were not roaming freely. The bears were back. They were swimming. We watched them swimming and that was kind of fun. And there was a whole pack of wolves. They were also not free roaming.
That's good.
Yeah. But then when you're out in the sort of savannah style part, there were definitely bison and many other sort of mostly harmless ostriches did come right up and they will, I don't know. They were going right up to car windows and they seem harmless, but an ostrich can mess you up.
I don't like any animal that can like spit or has like a long enough neck that they could peck at me from a distance. I don't know. I have standards on my animals, like camels and ostriches. Yeah. No, like you guys are freaky and you're aggressive. No, I'm not.
No spitting and no pecking.
Nope. Those are my 2 rules.
That seems fair.
Anything else goes.
What about tongues the length of your forearm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean a giraffe. They have impressive tongues.
A giraffe when you feed.
No, yes, I don't want impressive tongues near me. I'm good.
And they're a weird color, almost blue.
Yeah, they're like a bluish purple.
And they have like alien antenna. No, I'm sorry. Giraffes. Don't.
So no giraffe manner for you?
No, I'm good. Now, if you can give me like penguin palace, penguins are my favorite animal. I'll do that.
Sure.
TM. Guys, we need to
do it. Does anybody have any penguins? Ooh, what about an otter park? Or you can just play with otters.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that too. Yeah.
Some quokkas.
An otter room in my house. That would be nice.
I'm putting it on the list. It's happening.
Well, so guys, I think
we have reached the time.
I'm cooling down on the risque level of the theme parks, the weird theme park of the week that I do. So this week we're going to Japan again, but It's far more safe for work this time. So you guys are all familiar with the original Westworld movie and then recent show. So the movie was originally directed by Michael Crichton, the guy that did Jurassic Park, wrote Jurassic Park. It was a really bad movie. Have you ever seen that one, Heather?
Yes, it's terrible.
It's horrible. It's like the height of bad 70s sci-fi.
Yes. You liked it, Dan?
Oh, come on. Like, I love bad movies, but it's a bad movie. Like, really bad. Yul Brynner's good in it, but... So, yeah, it was turned into an HBO show that just finished its...
Which is excellent.
Yeah, it just finished the third season. I'm a big fan. I didn't like the third season as much, but we won't get into that.
It was different.
It was different.
I liked it.
I'm liking where they're going. But for those that don't know, it's the story of a futuristic theme park where guests can live out their wildest fantasies in a sort of Wild West setting with human-like robots that basically they can murder, do other horrible, nasty things to, all without consequence. Yeah. Just sort of like the Wild West was.
Yeah.
So what some people think was inspired by the original movie, beginning in 1975, the Japanese town of Tochigi, I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly, as usual, opened their own Western Village. This was a theme park that celebrated the American Wild West. It was a full recreation of a Western town populated by animatronic citizens that vaguely resembled certain famous Western movie stars. So in the same vein of the Wild West act out with robots theme, but of course it's the 70s, so you're not getting Evan Rachel Wood level of realism, sadly. It had some really fun things to do. They had a shooting range.
And Tandy too.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you don't get any of that. But they had a shooting range where you could shoot air pistols, a lot like you can do at Walt Disney World still. They had a cowboy haunted house, which I'm not even sure. Yeah, I'm like, so are the ghosts cowboys or are they normal ghosts haunting cowboys? There's no
good question.
Yeah, they had a 1/3 scale of Mount Rushmore, which was really interesting. But what was really weird was inside of that it was filled with teddy bears dressed in weird costumes. I'm not kidding. Like teddy bears dressed in like Civil War uniforms and things like that. Like they look like they're about 3 to 4 foot high, and they're all still there. They also had
inside the mini Mount Rushmore.
Inside of the mini Mount Rushmore.
What?
They also.
Was it regular Civil War or was it a Civil War ghost teddy bear?
Well, I'm sure now there's Civil War ghost teddy bears because it's now closed, sadly. Yeah, my favorite area they had though was Mexico Land, where you could shoot lasers across the Rio Grande at targets over in the western town. Lasers, I don't know why, but
so from the Mexican side, you were shooting into
where you shot across the Rio Grande, and then so. Sadly, the park closed in 2007 due to lack of interest, which who'd have thought?
Maybe they could revive it now that Westworld is popular.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, fortunately, though, the park was never demolished, and almost all of the animatronic townspeople are still there. So as you can see on your screen, and people, you can look this up, many people go and take photos of the area because it gives a new term to ghost town. It is very scary. There's robots sitting in various stages of decomposition. Sort of, it's very reminiscent of the freezer in the basement of Westworld.
Except these folks are wearing clothes.
Yeah, that's true.
What happened to this guy's nose?
Yeah, there's some of them are losing some of their face parts. There's also things like a robot version of John Wayne with his robot guts hanging out.
What in the world?
Yeah.
And what happened to his
wife? So I'm assuming
he's got more than his guts hanging out.
Yeah, I'm assuming somebody has fiddled with the Duke there.
It seems like it.
I'll slow down.
I believe
hold on,
would refer to that as hanging Wang.
Hanging Robo Wang, I think might be the term. But yeah, it's still there. So if you want to get completely creeped out by some old-timey robots, feel free.
Old-timey Westworld in Japan. Let's go.
I mean, this place was creepy when it was functioning. There's videos of the robots interacting with people, and it's nightmare fuel. So, and I made it through the whole thing without saying dick once. Ooh, dang it! Ah!
There it goes.
Ruined my streak.
Man.
Better luck next time.
Well, if you want to check it out, head to keytotheworldtravel.com and ask for it.
Yes,
Jess
that's
Evans.
correct.
We'll be glad to help you out. All right, well, stick around because after the commercial break, we're going to be taking a closer look at the ins and outs of Walt Disney World opening back up.
When it comes to planning your next adventure, knowledge and preparation are always key. That's why a call to your Key to the World Travel Vacation Planner should always be at the top of your to-do list when you feel the urge to venture forth and explore the world. Key to the World Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, specializing in travel to Disney theme parks around the world, as well as Disney Cruise Line, Aulani, and Adventures by Disney. With over 450 travel advisors who share a deep love for Disney destinations, Key to the World Travel has a wealth of knowledge and passion to help you experience all the magic with none of the work. Wherever your wanderlust is driving you, Key to the World Travel is a full-service travel agency with the expertise to get you where you want to go. So whether you're headed to Universal Studios, Hawaii, Europe, or somewhere a little farther off the beaten track, your first step should always be to visit www.keytotheworldtravel.com for a no-obligation quote. Their expert travel planners are standing by to help you with every detail of your perfect vacation. That's www.keytotheworldtravel.com or at Key to the World Travel on Facebook. Key to the World Travel, your key to a magical vacation.
And we're back. There's a lot of breaking news out of Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, so let's head straight to the theme park desk to cover the latest developments. Guys, they're opening.
So much news, and that's the best part. Yeah, let's start with the
Yay.
positive.
It's all positive in a way.
It is all positive.
Kind of.
That's true.
So they're starting with the DVC Resorts and Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground on June 22nd.
Just the resorts.
And then
Not the parks.
rolling into Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom on July 11th. And then Epcot and Hollywood Studios on July 15th.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have said that if you had a reservation between June 22nd and July 10th and you just want to have a resort trip, that they are going to honor that. So
I would do that. I mean, I have a...
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be down there on the 14th when they open the second half. But if I had just a hotel reservation for before that, I would still go just because I need to get out.
Sure, yeah. And they have confirmed, too, that the pools will be opening at the resorts that open.
Nice.
Because honestly, standing in the middle of a pool is the safest place to be because it can't survive the chlorine. So
That's true.
get you into the middle of a pool. Well, with the phased reopening, the next day that was announced on what was it, a Wednesday, and then by the Friday after that announcement came out, then we got hit with some of the caveats about the changes that are going to be happening with this reopening. And we just launch into what they are. And then I think there are some pros and cons to all of them.
Yeah.
So they announced no more FastPass Plus. Everyone's FastPasses are being deleted and they will not be using FastPass Plus for the foreseeable future.
And I am so fine with that.
Let's keep it indefinite.
Yes. Absolutely. There are no more dining plans. The dining plans are being canceled and those will be going away for the foreseeable future. Everyone who had a dining plan on their reservation will be getting a refund if they paid for it. If they did not pay for it because they had one of the many free dining offers that are out there, they will be getting a 35% refund off of the room portion of their remaining trip. Yesterday, we also found out no character meals for the foreseeable future. No park hopping.
Yeah, that's fine.
For the foreseeable future because of the reservation system. And then the final sort of blow for some folks was that they canceled everyone's dining reservations. so that they're going to clear them all out of the system and start fresh.
And experience reservations too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All of the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique and all of that are gone. And then they're going to start fresh with, first they're going to open the park reservation system, and then they will again allow dining reservations. And for the foreseeable future, those will only be happening 60 days out from your trip, not 180.
And we should mention too, you mentioned it in passing, the reservations for the parks themselves.
Yes, that's going to be really the key piece, is that they are capping their daily capacity at no more than 30% is what I've been hearing. And to do that, they're going to require that you have a reservation to enter a park. One good thing that we know about that, even though park hopping has been eliminated, you will, if you, for example, have a Magic Kingdom reservation on the Tuesday of your trip, you are able to go in and out of the Magic Kingdom while during its open hours that whole day.
That's good. Yeah.
That will be good. Oh, that's, and then there's one other thing we forgot was no more extra magic hours.
Right. And, or I'm assuming parties. Did they announce for parties? Did
no
they say
decision on the parties yet. They're still evaluating that. So we don't really know what's going to happen with those parties.
I'd see. Yeah. I can't decide like what I think they would do with that, because that's something that they could definitely control the capacity for, because it's ticketed.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah.
So
I think maybe what they're mulling on that is that we also know that for a while there's going to be no parades, no fireworks, things like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things just don't have an end date. You know, we don't know how long that's going to last. And I don't think even Disney knows how long that's going to have to last.
Right.
Depends on so many different things.
Yeah.
In Shanghai, they did bring all of the shows back after only 2 weeks. So that was some hopeful news.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've got sort of the contingency plans for rolling things out slowly if everything stays on the positive. So
yeah, they kind of have to see how things are going in the country, how recommendations from the CDC, what's happening there.
Yeah.
What local and state government guidelines, how those flow.
And they did say when it comes to the reservations that they're going to let existing ticket holders and annual pass holders, let them make reservations before they in phases before they
park guests.
Yeah, before they start.
Or I'm sorry, resort guests.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have a reservation and they sent me an email that just said, you know, we've canceled any fast passes you had and any dining, but don't worry, you know, when this reservation system opens, you'll be one of the first to know, and you'll, you know, at least get a jump on it. So anybody that is thinking about whether keeping the reservation or not, at least, you know, you will get a jump. It's not like you're just going to basically be thrown to the wolves and it's just going to be everybody for themselves. So,
and part of that is, for right now, there is a complete freeze on any sales.
Right.
So you can't buy any new tickets. You can't make a hotel reservation. None of that. They want to take an undetermined period of time. They haven't said how long this is going to last.
Yeah.
But they need time to focus on everyone for the balance of 2020 who have a reservation, an annual pass, tickets, that sort of thing. They need to focus on them first.
Yeah.
And make sure that they accommodate them first. And I really think they're anticipating a lot of cancellations. And in these first couple of weeks after all of these announcements, they're going to see how many people just go ahead and cancel right away.
Yeah. On the other hand, I made my reservation within 5 minutes of them saying when they were opening, and I'm glad I did.
That was smart.
I got in right under it. So
because some of this stuff, I think really people are going to have an immediate reaction of negativity. And there are going to be a certain percentage of people who are just like, nope, this is a deal breaker. We're not going.
Well, let's be honest. They need people to do that, though, because you're talking about Magic Kingdom's absolute maximum capacity that they, shut down in the holidays is like 90,000 people. And so they're saying like 30,000, I think, was even like the max. I think they said, 30%. And I think
30%. We're not exactly sure what
that area is,
what number
like
that is.
The max that they could do for social distancing. And then they said, we're going to probably keep it a little bit below that. So how else?
Yeah, they said they're going to ramp up.
Yeah.
So
as they go.
I think they realize that, there's how else are they going to keep the number of people down that low? There's literally no other way.
Yeah.
So, but let's take a look at some of those changes and talk about why, they're not necessarily as bad as they sound at first blush. Because there's really only
and the one thing we should mention this too, that if you have a hotel reservation, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get a park reservation.
That's the only real sticking point for me. The other changes, I'm okay with. Park hopping and all that, fine. I'm a little worried about the reservation thing, but we can talk about that.
I think they decided, I mean, I'm sure there were discussions that went from something like this. Well, we could say that the only people allowed in the park are the people with a hotel reservation. And then what do you do about everyone who has an annual pass or who bought standalone tickets and were planning to stay somewhere else?
Or DVC and then
a DVC. Yeah, exactly. So they had to come to some kind of decision that, and basically what it's going to be is, in my opinion, I think there's going to be some kind of math that they do where they decide that on this every day that a park is open, a certain percentage will be hotel guests and a certain percentage will be annual passes. No, but this is speculation on my part, but that kind of feels like.
Yeah. And if they don't meet it for certain groups, then they can just open that up to more. Yeah. That makes sense.
There's some kind of calculus going on there where they figure out that mix.
I'm sure they're not just throwing darts at a board with numbers on it and be like, let's go there.
I don't envy them. I'm sure that there's some kind of logic to what percentage will allow to this and what percentage that. But to Dan's point, a lot of this feels like old school Disney, right?
Yeah.
I heard someone refer to it as Walt Disney World 1985.
Yeah.
Back when you didn't need to plan out every second of your day.
Sounds so great.
6 months in advance.
Doesn't it sound so refreshing?
I mean, let's take FastPass Plus for our starting point. I mean, they're talking about having the numbers in the park so low that it's going to look like you've got a long wait because you've got to be 6 feet apart from everybody. But
exactly,
they're going to use that FastPass queue space.
In reality, I don't think the line is going to move quickly. It's going to look long because you got to keep everybody. Each group has to be 6 feet away from the people in front of them.
Right.
And we suspect there's probably going to be some adjustments to the actual ride itself. Like, for example, they probably aren't going to fill, maybe. I mean, we don't know. They haven't said. They may not fill every single row.
Well,
I don't think they will. They didn't at the Asian parks.
Yeah. Some of them, something like, for example, Haunted Mansion, you can use every doom buggy because
there are a lot of attractions that actually do a really good job of separating people out. Those Omni movers with their clamshell backs. I mean, that's
that's
sure,
perfect. Little Mermaid.
You can fill every one of those cars, but then you've got Big Thunder Mountain. Are they going to skip rows?
They're definitely not doing the single rider. They're taking out that. So that'll.
Yeah, because they can't put you in with somebody in with someone that's not in your party anymore. They can't. Yeah, Universal's doing that too. No more single rider. Type experience.
The fact of the matter is, though, I mean, in lots of ways, FastPass Plus really did break the park experience because of the way you've got to plan so far in advance, and it makes that every single person there's trying to get in the same 4 or 5 major big ticket items. So it's going to be less stressful planning, and then on top of that, people maybe are going to learn to appreciate Country Bear Jamboree and the Enchanted Tiki.
Oh, they better.
Sure,
they better.
Yeah, but do you think those are going to open right away?
I don't think we will see any theater shows like PhilharMagic.
PhilharMagic.
I don't think we're going to see those in the first phase of opening.
Yeah, but this is going to go.
I think anything like that, you're cramming people in an enclosed space. It's the one major thing that they're still saying don't do.
Sure.
So it's
eventually they're going to be open. But I think you're going to see a lot of the underappreciated attractions. You're going to see people learning to appreciate the parks as parks instead of, I got to get on this roller coaster and then get off.
I've got a schedule.
Could this be an opportunity to reset? I mean,
I hope so.
I do too. Part of me thinks no, because they spent $1 billion on this system.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we have Max Pass out at Disneyland, which is better.
Yeah. I if they bring FastPass back, then I'd like to see it modified, like more to the Max Pass way of doing things, like taking out that 60-day. You've got to get up and figure out what your day is going to be 60 days in advance. Yeah, I miss being able to go to the parks and just go, and I still, like, we've gotten to the point because we go so much that we just sort of walk around and do what we want. But when it comes to major rides, anything new, I've still got to get up. I've still got to get those fast passes. Yeah. And, for clients, it's make or break, because this is maybe like a one in a lifetime trip for them. It puts so much on so little of an aspect of a visit, I think. The rides are a big part of it, but it has put so much focus onto getting those special big rides that, people don't enjoy the park, I don't think, anymore. So
it'd be nice maybe when it does come back, maybe they can remove it from the attractions that really don't need it. Because the only reason...
Yeah, that's true. That's flagrant disuse.
The only reason you need to get a Fast Pass for Haunted Mansion now is because they put Fast Pass on Haunted Mansion. So everybody grabs it.
Yes.
If they would just leave it to be, it's a people eater
Standby
attraction.
Style.
It's huge capacity. It doesn't need to be Fast Pass. So, I mean, lots of attractions are like that.
I do so prefer the Max Pass system at Disneyland. It's still something that you don't plan that in advance. You make your decisions when you get in the park.
That's nice.
Yeah, it reminded me of when Fast Pass first started, and you had to get the little paper ones out of the kiosk. I still have a stack of the paper ones that I haven't used.
And somebody in the group was always the Fast Pass runner.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that that was kind of a pain in the butt in itself, but it was fun. It wasn't the same.
It was, but it was better.
Yeah, it was.
But Max Pass sort of combines that idea. You don't have to run to the attraction to get it.
Yeah.
You do it on your device. So it's sort of, I don't know. It just seems like it's a better way of doing it than Fast Pass Plus. And I've never been a fan of Fast Pass Plus.
No,
since it started. Love the Magic Band. Love that now you don't have to carry around a ticket and that kind of thing. You don't even have to carry around a key card for your hotel room door. I do like that part of it. I like that it's they can use that as touchless payment. That's all that part of that $1 billion that they spent, I think, was well spent.
The other billion. Yeah.
It's the Fast Pass Plus part that I don't like.
And they could keep it going and maybe just, focus on using it more for interactions in the park and rides and things like that. It's got the technology built in. So
yeah, I thought it was interesting that when Universal announced their reopening plan, they spent a lot of time focusing on the fact that they're going to use virtual lines that they had developed for Volcano Bay. And they talked a lot about mobile ordering and touchless paying and stuff like that. And Disney didn't spend a lot of time. They didn't mention virtual lines at all.
No, they didn't. I was disappointed by that. I'm really hoping that's coming. It seems
like it's going to be standby only and just 6 feet apart from the people in front of you.
I don't see how they can do that in certain areas of the park. Like, I just start seeing in my head every 6 feet, and even with
here's something interesting. This means you don't need a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance anymore.
Unless you're just going to need a boarding group for every ride.
Right.
I think the virtual queue didn't happen just because the strong point is not setting up the IT systems right now. And
it's not. Yeah. They're not, apart from the boarding groups for Rise of the Resistance, they're just not set up for virtual lines. They've relied on FastPass Plus.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like this is a reset to old school Disney for a while. And I think it's a great reason to keep your trip.
Yeah.
And to go. And it's getting out of the mindset that you are not going to have a good time unless you get X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And we've trained people to think that over the last, 5 years, longer. And we have to break them out of that. That's the biggest thing
I try to tell clients. Yeah, is we've got this plan that we worked on, but please don't stick to it. When something arises that is going to be the real memories, please take the time to watch your toddler chase around the ducks around the hub, or
right, exactly.
Go ahead.
And it breeds that in there before they even get there. They're like, we just spent so much time figuring all these things out, and if they don't happen, then the trip's ruined.
Yes.
Like,
I do keep hearing, well, no character dining, that's a deal breaker. But why? What,
like it's fun. It's great. It's a magical experience to see your kid, have Mickey try to pretend he's eating his pancakes. But why is that a deal breaker? That's the thing. There is so much to enjoy from a visit that I don't see how even 50% of it being taken away for a small amount of time would make me not want to go. I don't get that,
And I think a lot of this is what's been built up in the parents' minds.
Yeah.
They've seen everybody's pictures on social media and they are like, well, my kid needs to have breakfast with Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And I think for most kids, they're not going to care about all this stuff that's gone.
Yeah.
They're not going to care about park hopping is gone, or dining plans are gone, or character meals, or fast passes. They're just going to have fun at Disney
They're
World.
happy to be.
Yeah, like a slow day at Disney World is better than a great day at home most of the time.
And the resorts are fun. You're going to have fun at the resorts. The pools are great. They're going to be open. And we've all been trapped in our houses for 3 months with our families. Let's get out of our houses and go somewhere more fun.
I was just trying to think right now, and maybe see if you guys can think of. So you taking away FastPass and all those things, take away character dining. That's not a deal breaker. Is there any, like, other than if they say we're shutting down 2/3 of all the attractions, and like, what is there any like one thing that would really make you say, okay,
what would be our deal breaker?
This is the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, I'm still at Disney. You can do a lot before I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to close most of the rides or attractions.
I really don't think there's anything that would.
I can't think of anything
that
deal
would breaker.
Because of the way that I tour now, though. I mean, I like to spend a lot of times. I mean, maybe if they said absolutely no restaurants or bars, then I'd be, well.
I mean, even if they didn't have the parks open, I'd take a day and just go visit my favorite resorts, and you can check out parts.
You
of
can
that,
only eat at Pecos Bills. Yeah. All guests can only eat at Pecos
I'm okay with that. I love Pecos Bills. They have great nachos.
What if they reopened Disneyland and told you could only eat at Flo's?
Burn it to the ground.
Yeah. And Disney Springs is already open, and here's going to be I'm about to throw the fuel on the fire. Here's the sticking point for a lot of people that we thought was going to be the only thing we had to overcome, and that's the mask requirement. They are requiring 4 right now, and we just have no idea how long this will last. That you have to wear a mask in the parks, all the way down to age 2.
Mm-hmm. Good
2
luck
and up.
2-year-olds. Good luck with a 3-year-old.
I know, and I think they have to realize that, between age 2 and 5.
Yeah.
Those kids are going to be touching the mask and pulling it off. And
I have problems with my 8-year-old, but and myself.
My grouchy 13-year-old doesn't want to go anywhere because he doesn't want to have to put it on. The 16-year-old is like, yeah, give me the mask, I'll go. He wore a mask so that he could go donate blood.
Yeah.
It was cool. But his grumpy 13-year-old brother doesn't want any.
Yeah, but he's just kind of grumpy in general. So.
Yes, he's like an 85-year-old man.
Mask or no.
Yeah.
I like being able to throw on my bandana, and I've been waiting 28 years to be able to pretend I'm playing cowboys and
yes.
What do cowboys allowed to fight against now? And bad cowboys and bad cowboys and outlaws.
Black hat cowboys and white hat cowboys. That's what it is. Yeah.
It's so bizarre to walk into a store with a bandana over your face.
My wife is so tired of every time we're in the car and we're getting ready to go in somewhere and we start putting our masks on, and I turn to her and I go, all right, you get the cashier, I'll get the safe. She's like, she just looks at me like, enough.
We're done. I've heard it enough.
And I'm like, it must be so weird to work in a convenience store right now.
Think about being a dad, though.
It's just bizarro world.
It's your.
When have you ever done, like, just a few months ago, the thought of walking into a store in a bandana, you'd be kicked out.
And I feel weird every time I do it. I'm like, I'm a good person. I have
But
money.
Now you get you'd get the side eye if you didn't have it.
Right, yeah.
Up around here in Michigan, masks are becoming scarce really quick. Fewer and fewer people wear them.
It's mandatory now. They started on Friday here in Virginia.
It's mandatory here, but there's no penalty.
Indoor.
It's mandatory, but there's no actual enforcement. So
no, and that's why I was saying I think this is a hot button issue, because this is not just with theme parks; it's all over the country. It's become a "you can't make me" kind of thing. You're trampling on my rights, and the fact of the matter is this is private property.
So yes, they can make you.
So they can tell you have to. They're not trampling on your constitutional rights.
Yeah, I think this is going to be, I foresee this being heavily enforced. You know, Disney has not always been so adamant about certain rules. Like you and I, we've all seen people lighting up cigarettes in the park.
Yeah.
And the way they handle it is to ask them nicely to stop. I think with this one, if you get anybody trying to make a statement, somebody coming in, and I guarantee you somebody's going to try to come in, filming themselves for YouTube or whatever. And it's going to be, I don't think that they're going to have any sort of wiggle room on that. And I think they're going to get rid of you pretty fast. So just why mess around with it? If you don't want to wear a mask, just do not do it. You know, don't go.
Yeah. I have heard at Disney Springs that they do have security is walking around, and when they see people taking them off, telling them to put them back on. Now we had a friend that has gone back several times. He lives locally, and he said that Florida is hot. That's a reality. It's very, very hot. Yeah. And he said that every 15, 20 minutes, he would stop and make sure he wasn't around anyone else and take his mask off for a few minutes to get some fresh air. And he wasn't given any trouble doing that.
Yeah.
I think if he was crowded into a space with other people, that he may have been, that it might have been enforced a little bit more, but they are. We don't know yet what this is going to mean for people with disabilities, specifically autistic folks.
Right.
We just don't know what kind of accommodation is going to be made for them, because so many of them have sensory issues that this may be a deal breaker for them. And this is kind of new territory. Yeah. You know, I don't know what the ADA would say about this.
I think there's a chance that they
you have to make accommodations for people, but what's the accommodation here when it's considered a safety issue? And it's the problem with the masks is that, unfortunately, the CDC and other health organizations spent so much time in the beginning of this crisis saying you shouldn't wear a mask and talking about why it was not going to protect you. And it's still, people still don't really get that this isn't about protecting yourself. It's not trying to keep you from being exposed. It's trying to keep you from spreading it if you haven't.
And there's a lot of us, there's a lot of people out there that are non-symptomatic. So please just keep your mask on just in case.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there was so much debate in the beginning about why people shouldn't be wearing masks and and now you've got that got sort of drilled into people, and now you've switched gears. And you have a different reason for it, but that reason's not really getting through to everybody.
Yeah.
So true. I think and we just don't know how long are they going to recommend this? Is it going to be until there's a vaccine? I think that's a very real possibility.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, as uncomfortable as it is, I kind of would like to see if after there's a vaccine for this, maybe America should be shifting towards masks. Just if you're sick, just put it on, just to be polite to other people with the common cold, even, instead of.
That's definitely a thing in Asia already.
So yeah, maybe they're not so weird. Maybe it's a good idea. So how about what are your thoughts on the changes to dining? No dining plan and.
That didn't surprise me too much, because how you cannot guarantee the experience you're selling with the dining plan if you can't guarantee that there's going to be characters there or that certain restaurants are even open or that they can get in. So
I think that's the biggest part of it is the capacity.
Yeah.
It's unclear right now how many of the total. I mean, there's 25? How many resorts are we up to?
Around 25,
it's in the 20s. I think it's around 25.
Yeah.
But we only know right now for sure that the DVC properties are opening.
And the campground.
And the campground. Yeah. So think about if they decide not to open some of the other resorts, that eliminates restaurants.
A lot of restaurants.
Because so many of them are at resorts.
Not to mention, when was the last time you went to dinner at, a pretty good place at Disney World and it wasn't packed?
Right.
So they're going to have to space out. They're going to lose probably 50%.
And the dining plans have definitely been a driver for filling the restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Why they did this, because now it's again going back to Walt Disney World 1985 when people they may go off property to eat dinner instead,
or be able to walk up to a restaurant and get in.
Or exactly, they are going to be opening ADRs back up, so they had to get rid of all of them to start with a clean slate because they need everybody to have the same sort of chance to get reservations at whatever is left, whatever they do open.
The other thing about the dining plan too is when you look at, there's lots of sites out there that break down the value of what a credit is worth and is the dining plan worth it for me? And most of them agree, all of the restaurants that they say use your credits for, they're either character meals or buffet type meals anyway. All of those are,
which we know buffets are. So
if you don't have character dining, you don't have buffets, you're kind of losing some of the value there. So you're not really necessarily, and especially because a lot of times the dining plan, you really only get the value if you've got a larger family. It is more convenient to use it like a prepaid debit almost, that's how we use it.
That's why a lot of people like it because they know that cost portion of their vacation is already taken care of. They know that at least with food, they're not going to be running up another bill after they've already paid for this big vacation.
Yeah.
But there are ways around that. We talked about Melissa's tip about giving a prepaid card to your kids. Will use that for your food as well.
Get one of those now.
Set yourself a budget for what you want to spend on meals. Get it on a prepaid card and go that way. So there are some ways around that. And if you're at a DVC hotel, you're going to at least have a little small kitchenette. So eat breakfast in your room.
For sure.
Yeah. I just have to bring up one thing that I can't really get over from this whole thing. Was anybody else completely surprised that they're opening Epcot?
Yes.
At all?
I started to say that earlier.
Shocked.
They might as well leave it shut.
Shocked.
Everything's under construction.
Yeah.
Keep the crowds out. Make it easier to do all the building and then open it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would figure they could work faster if they didn't have to worry about the park being open.
And do you think they're going to do a food and wine festival with
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one. I thought that I think maybe a wait and see.
I think it is.
I mean, I don't even think if they're going to open how could they open the front of the park? It is literally just bottlenecks. It's hallways where you cram people in to get them to other sections of the park. I wouldn't be surprised if the front of the park and Spaceship Earth is closed now. It's up on their website that the scheduled maintenance is happening still after all this. So we're not going to see that open for a while.
It's unfortunate that there's not a good way to.
I was shocked. I really thought that the announcement would exclude reopening Epcot.
Yeah.
I mean, World Showcase is when you're not in a festival. It is a way to. There's a lot of space there, and it's outside primarily.
Yeah.
So it is some great space.
But actually, some of those pavilions, there's some pretty tight corridors. Think about when you get
like Morocco. Morocco's probably
back in the back of France.
Oh, that's
true.
Tight. Yeah.
Canada. So,
but if they've got the attendance really low,
that's true. With capacity being restricted, then that may not become an issue back in those areas.
Do you remember wandering through World Showcase and not like maneuvering through and just actually like wandering around and looking at things? And
any evening during any festival,
it's impossible.
shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Especially food and wine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess they haven't made any announcements, but I guess it wouldn't shock me if they decided not to do it this year.
I definitely wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Because that's a huge draw for Epcot, and it is always crowded. But again, they are limiting.
Yeah.
But the cost of putting those things on is paid for by that attendance.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of that attendance is locals who are coming over to eat and drink in the evenings, and you can't just pop in there anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's gonna affect Epcot so weirdly because Epcot's an afternoon evening spike in their attendance. So, and
a really big reason to stay at Yacht Beach Boardwalk is so that in the evening you can just pop over into Epcot for some dinner or snacks or drinks.
Now
stumble back to your room.
The snacks, yeah.
So,
oh god, they're gonna have so many prepackaged snacks now that they don't have dining plans to make people like grab 8 million on their way out.
It's
sad.
You won't have a suitcase full of snack credits.
They're going to be giving away Chippendale pretzels,
snack mix, and Goofy's Candy Company bagged stuff that you bring home.
I still have like 5 bags of Goofy's like gummy worms in my pantry.
Yeah, we got some stuff that I think
I love those.
I don't think those Rice Krispie treats are good anymore.
No, they weren't good when you got them.
So I think. Overall, our consensus here is, it sounds scary because it's different from what we're used to, but there's really not a lot of downside to sticking with your Disney vacation plans.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think it's just going to be a mindset adjustment that it can still be a great vacation. It's just going to be different than what we've all
like Jess said.
It's going to be more laid back.
You're still at Disneyland. That's better than being at home, right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, we need a T-shirt that says Walt Disney World 1985. That's the experience that we're going to have.
So on the other hand, though, if this temporary new version of Disney just doesn't fit with your view of a Walt Disney World vacation, and that's fine. Everybody's got their own expectations for what they want to do. What are some suggestions that we as an agency have been talking about for people who want to try something different?
Yeah, we've been looking at a lot of domestic destinations that are not the theme parks. And this country, actually, we have so many beautiful beaches and beautiful beach resorts. I mean, if you still want to go to Florida, there's a lot of beautiful resorts in Florida that honestly would look a lot like some of the Caribbean destinations, all up and down the Gulf Coast and even on the other side, all the way down into the Keys. So we're seeing a lot of interest in doing some of that stuff. And then this country is huge. There's so much to see and so many great places to take a summer vacation.
We talked a little bit about national parks earlier, and I had some info on the openings. Like you said, most of the parks are opening. They've got limited access to most of their things right now, so they're limiting the number of cars that they allow in the parking lots to avoid overcrowding on trails and whatnot. Fortunately, a lot of the parks like Yellowstone, you can see a lot of Yellowstone just driving around the park and not even necessarily having to get out. You need to get out to see some of the water features and the geysers and stuff. But I mean, there's options there.
But also remember to follow the rules. Did you guys see the news report about the woman who was not supposed to be in Yellowstone, but was while it was closed, and she got severely burned by
lucky she didn't get herself melted into a puddle of goo.
Yep.
Oh, call back to former episode.
Yeah, we've talked. That happens more often than you would think. One park that we did mention that is not open yet is Yosemite. Isn't open yet, and they don't currently have a date because they are following the state of California's guidelines. So they are waiting until they're in stage 3 in California to be allowed to open there.
Which the last I heard, they were expecting to be sometime in June.
Now, when they do open, though, they are going to have, similar to Walt Disney World, they're going to have a reservation system where you're going to have to get onto their website and apply for a day pass so that they want to limit the number of people that are in there. They are going to allow, have a limited number of passes for overnight spots for the people who want to camp in the backcountry. But they are going to be limiting entry through a reservation system like that. And a lot of the other parks, are going to have similar, like I said, shutting down parts of their parking lots. If you go to nps.gov, there's pages for every single national park listed there with details about what their current policies are and when they're open, what parts are open and stuff. So you can check that out there. I saw there's an article I'll put a link to in the show notes that had some tips for when you want to visit. And I just wanted to share a couple of those, kind of summarize them real quick. You got to remember that you got to be more self-sufficient. They're not opening up to full service right away. So visitor centers, restrooms, restaurants, shops, most of the campgrounds, they're probably not going to be open yet, or they're only going to be partially opened. I know I just saw a post from Cuyahoga Valley National Park that said our restrooms are open. Finally, just now, like yesterday, they opened their restrooms. Make sure you fill up your water bottles before you get here, though, because drinking fountains still aren't. Stuff like that. So just be prepared that it's going to be a lot more self-serve and a lot more rustic than it normally be. Which leads me
not so glampy.
Yeah, not so glampy.
It's another throwback.
Right.
It's not a
Yellowstone 1985.
It's not a dandy camping situation. You're saying.
Here's a third throwback. Make sure you're respectful of the wildlife because they are wild animals, and they've gotten really used to not having to share their home with you.
I know.
So
I've been wondering about that.
We talked about before, and the bison are out in full force. They're even more on the roads than normally. Apparently, the prairie dogs also have really gotten used to having more space, and they're seeing a lot of them on the road. So keep an eye out for those little prairie dogs. Yeah.
There are a lot of really great glamping options that are not in the park. So you can, there's a company called Under Canvas that does just incredible, beautiful, gorgeous campgrounds with a tent that's almost like a hotel room. And they have them near a lot of these parks. So if you're worried about the fewer amenities, you could stay somewhere like that. And then just realize that your park visit during the day, you need to carry a lot of stuff in a backpack.
Yeah, and another option for amenities is this whole thing has caused kind of a resurrection of the RV
totally.
Industry. And at this point, actually, to be honest, I didn't check, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's next to impossible to find any RVs available to rent for the summer at this point.
It could be. Yeah, we're getting a lot of interest, and that's something a lot of people might not realize is that our travel advisors can help you with RV rentals and glamping rentals
and setting up the campsites for you to hook up at, all that stuff.
Especially if you're not used to doing that kind of thing, having an advocate to help you out is a great thing.
This other article that I'll link to talks about rentals and sales. I mean, there's places that are seeing sales of RVs up like 175, 200%.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm going to go ahead and buy one.
They're saying, I want to go out. I want to travel. I don't want to have to worry about the cleanliness of a hotel room. I want to be in charge of my environment. It's perfect. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And like Heather said, that's totally an option that a travel agent would be great to help you out with. All of these things, really. I mean, we're looking at everything's got new rules, new procedures. Everything works a little bit different. So even though you can go to these places, it might not work the same as last time you went.
Yeah, it might not be what you remember.
It's a great idea to have, like you said, an advocate on your side to help navigate these new rules. And travel planners can do everything. Even if you just want a hotel in the next town over because you're tired of looking at, the inside of your house, travel planner can help you set
Yes.
that up, and that's a great way to support travel planner. And
Support the travel industry.
so,
Mm-hmm.
was there any other Disney alternatives you guys want to talk about, or any other summer travel things opening up? Anything else?
I think we've hit all the. There's still a lot of options out there.
Yeah.
Summer vacation is not a bust, and I think a lot of us were worried about that. Like, are we going to be able to go anywhere this summer? And the answer is a resounding yes. We can. There's a lot of places you can still go.
Yeah.
And it gives you an opportunity to try out things that you might have forgotten.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or, something new instead of going to the same old place every year. I mean, it's always good.
Just don't
I like going to the same
but every once in a
every
while.
year if it's Walt Disney World.
That's true.
just don't try flows. This is not when that
Yes,
reopens, it's not a
we're
good time for that.
We haven't gotten
That's
that
the best
death
part of
threats.
Disneyland being closed. Nobody can go to flows.
Yeah, and right now we don't really have any clues to when Disneyland might reopen. The only thing we've gotten is that Governor Newsom did say that he will allow theme parks to reopen during their phase 3, and that's expected in June. So fingers crossed, maybe we'll hear something about Disneyland reopening in July as well. Don't know that for sure, but it would be great
for changes to the norm.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, I think they will be, certainly with Disneyland, it's going to be less drastic than what we just had happen with Disney World all week, because you already don't have, dining that you've planned out 6 months in advance.
Yeah. I think their reservation system is going to be interesting, though, since they are a local heavy park.
So many pass
I have a
holders,
feeling that we won't see as many people turned away at Walt Disney World as maybe at Disneyland at first. So, but
yeah, that's true.
We'll see.
They don't have as many on-site hotels either.
Yeah.
There is a huge network of Good Neighbor hotels, off-site stuff there, but they just have the 3 official Disney hotels. So a little bit smaller capacity as far as letting resort guests have a shot.
Yeah.
And they have fewer parks to deal with. It's only the 2 parks. So
yeah, that's true. It might be a smoother open for them.
Yeah. And we didn't mention this when we were talking about Walt Disney World, but right now they're not reopening the water parks. That there's not an edict that they will not open all summer. It's just not right now.
Right.
They don't have a date for those to reopen yet. I would love it if they did, because that's further capacity for people to visit.
Yeah.
And we already know pools are safe. So, water park covered with chlorine, it's the place to be. And Volcano Bay at Universal is reopening.
Yes.
With their parks.
Yeah. And they're saying that you don't have to have those masks on in the water.
In the water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Margaritaville in Orlando opened their water park already last week, I think. Yeah. A lot of water parks reopening because of all the chemicals that they already use to kill things.
Yeah, right.
And it's hot in Florida, so a water park is a great thing in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see their Splitsville bowling.
Oh yeah,
don't see that reopening anytime soon.
No.
But I'd be shocked. The mini golf
at City Walk has reopened. So
yeah, and
it's an outdoor event. So.
It's outdoors, and you are never right up on the group in front of you.
At least you're not supposed to be.
You're not supposed to be. Yeah. Social distancing is kind of built right into that game. They just have to sanitize the clubs and stuff, but they already did that. As soon as you turn it back in, you turn it in a different window where you pick it up.
Yeah,
and they already were sanitizing them. So yeah, well, maybe we'll see. That's all stuff that's just more capacity, more places for people to spread out.
Yeah.
So maybe we could see those sooner rather than later. Who knows? Okay. I don't know. Just be speculating. Bowling, though, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes around touching all the balls.
I don't want to touch somebody else's balls,
Yeah.
Not if you don't know who was handling them.
You got to touch a lot of them until you find the one that's just right for you, though.
At least they're all nice and shiny.
Balls.
Yeah, the thing what drives me crazy at Splitsville is because 2 lanes share a ball return system. I've always got some dumb family that doesn't know bowling etiquette who's grabbing my ball. Put it back!
I had a nickel for every time I had a family grabbing on my ball.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Just the one?
Just the one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. We made it so far without any dick jokes, guys.
We did.
We're going out with a bang, you
All
know.
the way to the end, but who doesn't love to end with a bang?
Going out with a little ball play.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us again this week, making time to include us in your weird quarantine schedule. If you're itching to get out of the house and get your summer travel plans locked down, Key to the World Travel has an over-the-water bungalow at Walt Disney's Polynesian Village Resort full of expert travel advisors
With your name
waiting
on
to
it.
help make your travel dreams a reality. Visit www.keyoftheworldtravel.com for a quote and help planning the trip of a lifetime. Don't forget to catch up with our friend, the Theme Park Professor, for all the latest theme park news and tips at www.themeparkprofessor.com. Word of mouth is always the best way to help us grow our show. If you've got a friend or two who you think would appreciate our special brand of globe-trotting jackassery, I'd really appreciate it if you could send them on our way. Can't wait to hang out with you again next week, and we'll see you real soon.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see you close.
To ask a question or share your travel story, you can reach us by smoke signal, carrier pigeon, or send an email to goldkeyadventurers@gmail.com. And make sure you follow the Gold Key Adventure Society on Facebook and Instagram. A huge thanks to our sponsor, Key to the World Travel. For all your travel planning needs, visit www.keytotheworldtravel.com for a free quote and help planning the trip of a lifetime. Tell them the Gold Key Adventurers sent you. That's www.keytotheworldtravel.com. Key to the World Travel, your key to a magical vacation. Thanks to Outer Vibe for the use of their song Hoka Hey for the intro and outro of our show. Find them on Facebook at The Outer Vibe or check out www.outervibe.com for tour dates, music, merch, and more. We'll see you next week for another meeting of the Gold Key Adventure Society. And until then, remember, life is short and the world is wide. So go have an adventure.